Language is needed for any kind of communication. Even people with speech impairments use sign language and Braille to communicate. When you are unable to communicate using a language, this is known as a language barrier. Language barriers are the most common communication barriers there are. There are several different language barriers, but four of them are the differences in language, regional accents and dialects, the use of slang and jargons, and grammar and spelling mistakes. The first and most obvious barrier is the difference in languages, as two people speaking two different languages are not able to understand each other. For example, if an American goes to China, there's no way that the American can understand Chinese, and there's no way that the Chinese will be able to understand English. This creates an obvious barrier to communication, which causes the communication to be misinterpreted and ineffective. The next barrier is regional accents and dialects. Accents may differ based on region. Even if they speak the same language, you may not be able to understand them. For example, someone from England speaks English, but you may not be able to understand them because their accents are so strong. Also, the use of abbreviations and pidgins may cause language and communication to be ineffective. The abbreviation LOL used to mean lots of love, but now in today's language it means laugh out loud. If a person says LOL, it may be interpreted differently, and whoever is interpreting it may interpret it based on how they feel the sentence may have gone, which causes communication to be ineffective if it was intended to be something different. The next is use of jargons and slang. Jargons are technical words used by a specific profession. For example, a person in the medical field may use BP, meaning blood pressure, but some regular person on the street would not understand that BP is blood pressure. Also, slang is what us kids are most familiar with, and for example, the word marijuana, there are several ways to say it, such as weed, pot, Mary Jane, dope, grass, whatever you call it. And if you use one of those words, someone else may not understand what you're trying to say. The next is grammar and spelling mistakes. And us kids are also familiar with this with our phones. Autocorrect fixes many of the things that we meant to say, changes them into something that we weren't supposed to say at all, which causes a misinterpretation again, which also causes the barrier in the communication and makes our language ineffective because we just misinterpreted it. Though there are several barriers to communication, there are also several ways to overcome it. You can use an interpreter. Visual aids are always super helpful, and the use of repetition. Also, just talk slower and clearer. So language barriers are the most common communication barriers, which cause misunderstandings and misinterpretations between people. The barriers include the difference in language, accent, slang, spelling, but there are also several ways to overcome them.